Hey everyone, so here we are with the Blackberry Priv 30-day challenge, and this is day 20 where we left it off. At day 10 was with the update, and if it's not the OS that's being updated, and in this case you'll see that I have the latest, it's individual software that's being updated. BlackBerry has been extremely aggressive with their updates. If they're not updating the launcher, they're updating the actual hub, they're updating the actual camera, they're updating the keyboard. They are updating everything all the time, and that's really reassuring because when Marshmallow comes out, I'm certain that this will be an amazing device. So with that in mind, after the update, there were a few things that came out individually, which were the camera, keyboard launcher, the hub, and a few other things. And the first thing I checked was the camera. The front-facing camera is obviously a joke, but prior to the update, I was getting these weird green bands whenever there'd be a white light source in the actual image, be it a reflection or an actual light source. So after the update, no more green band, and that was really reassuring. I mean, the camera's already bad, it doesn't have to be retarded. The rear-facing camera, much better speeds in terms of picture-to-picture time. The actual browsing through the images is nice and quick. You also now have a night mode signified by this crescent moon, and it's automatic, so you can't really turn it on or off. Aspect ratio changed, and this is big because previously BlackBerry would stick to 4:3 or 1:1. This is 4:3, and now you have 16:9, which is a little bit wider basically. Same thing here. Pay attention to the detail. It's not bad, I gotta say. Under the right lighting conditions, you get some half decent shots. This is an HDR example. This is not HDR, and this is with HDR. And the shadows are obviously filled in when you have HDR. Pay attention to the top here. And that's with HDR. So you can pause here and have a look at the images themselves if you want to see them in more detail. But all in all, closing statements for the camera still images under the light. Under correct lighting conditions, you get pretty good results. Here's a video sample. Again, with good lighting, this is shot at 1080p at 60 FPS. This is a sample of 1080p at 30 FPS. Important to note that only in that mode do you have access to the OIS, or in this case they're calling it EIS, which is Enhanced Image Stability or Stabilization. So this is without, and you'll see that it's seeking for focus quite a bit to look for a subject. And this is with. And you'll see in a minute when I start to move, the image actually becomes a little bit weird. You get these weird artifacts, almost as if it's trying too hard to compensate for your movements. But once again, it's the same idea. Like under the right lighting conditions, you will get half decent results. Now these are all overcast days, so the lighting is pretty soft, which is kind of freebie for the camera. It gives it a little bit more light to work with instead of having hot spots. And here you see what I was referring to earlier. When you're actually moving with the camera, you get these weird sort of, I don't know if I'd call them freeze frames, but it's definitely noticeable and it's definitely not typical. And depending on your application, this will be more than enough for you because it does have 4K. In low lighting, however, it's a completely different story. The camera is pretty crap, especially in videos. The video footage is near unusable. And in this case, there is enough lighting here, but it shouldn't give these kinds of results. This is an example of the iPhone 6S, and I use this as a frame of reference because it's such a ubiquitous phone. Everyone has it. I'm sure the 6S Plus would have better video footage or results in general, but I only have the 6S at my disposal. So this is the video with the 6S, and it's even crappier than the Priv, surprisingly. So another thing that I really found interesting while using the Priv, you probably heard about it by now, but the speaker grill on the bottom or the left-hand side, although it adds good symmetry to the device, the left-hand side is the only part that's actually a speaker. The right-hand side is a mic, so if you accidentally cover up the left, you'll lose your audio. A really crappy thing about this device, I don't know what the hell the other reviewers are talking about, but I am getting terrible battery life. By unplugging it around, I don't know, 6 or 7 a.m., maybe I'll get until like, I don't know, 3 or 4 before I start looking for a charger. And that's only with a few email accounts and a few things synced. Nothing crazy. One of the things that the Priv is made for is the keyboard. You get the best of both worlds. You get the software keyboard where you can swipe up. You can do all the gestures with back swiping. The physical keyboard is amazing. I have to say, I complained before about the Passport's keyboard being just a bit too wide for one-handed usage, but here on the Priv, it's the right width. It has the right amount of travel, in my opinion. And to be honest, I find myself favoring the physical keyboard over the virtual in any circumstance, even when I'm walking. And this is an illustration of, I guess, using the device on a unstable surface when you're moving around. So on an elliptical, you're perfectly fine. Like, you're capable to type while you're moving or walking in the real world too. But be careful of traffic. And one of the other things I wanted to mention was that you guys might have noticed BlackBerry is not making a big deal of the curved display, and that's because it's kind of not being used as well as it should be. Like in the S6 Edge or the S6 Edge Plus, you're actually getting notifications, you can do stuff there. But in the case of the Priv, you're really only noticing the device's curved display when you're pulling something in from the edges, like in this case, or when you have the battery plugged in and it gives you that weird bar thingy that really serves no purpose. That's it. So I wish they really used this a little bit better, but this is what I think is going on. The S6 Edge or the Edge Plus screen is on the top and the Priv on the bottom. There's a lot less curvature to it. As I mentioned earlier, the device updates are coming in fast and they're coming in frequently, which is really reassuring. So the hub got an update, and now that means integration with WhatsApp. It's not the greatest because it still opens up the WhatsApp app once you actually open up the actual message. But once Hangouts gets integrated and a whole bunch of other things come into here, like Facebook Messenger, for example, I think then it would be unstoppable. That would be the true hub experience that everybody who is a diehard BlackBerry fan has come to love and depend on. And personally speaking, when I look at other devices, I remember why I prefer the Priv. It's because everything is amalgamated into one screen. And truly, that is the essence of BlackBerry. Now, as I said, updates are coming in quite frequently. This update was to the WhatsApp app itself. So I have high hopes for this device, and I think that this might be the Hail Mary that saves BlackBerry. So stay tuned for day 30 and what the conclusion is and which way I'll go going forward. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe for the next update and make sure you get notifications. Check out the day 10 video and the day 1 video, as well as the actual unboxing and the other videos on my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.